Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
1-800-Flowers.com is more than your birthday, anniversary, or just because gift-giving destination. We put our hearts into everything we do to help you celebrate all life's special occasions with friends and family. From our farmers and bakers, florists and makers, everything from 1-800-Flowers is made with love every step of the way, because we know that nothing is more important than delivering a smile. To learn more, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
Since 2013, Bombas has donated over 100 million socks, underwear, and T-shirts to those facing homelessness. If we counted those on air, this ad would last over 1,157 days. But if we counted the time it takes to make a donation possible, it would take just a few clicks. Because every time you make a purchase, Bombas donates an item to someone who needs it.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
The Pod Network Entertainment.
This episode may cover sensitive topics like sexual assault, domestic violence, stalking, depression, and suicide, which could be triggering. While we recognize the challenges this content may pose, we advise you to prioritize your safety and well-being.
Now on Broadway, An Enemy of the People is a New York Times critic's pick. Jeremy Strong is one of the great actors of his generation, hails the Chicago Tribune. In a performance the Wall Street Journal praises as powerfully affecting and bitterly funny. Michael Imperioli sets off sparks, cheers the Hollywood Reporter. Victoria Pedretti is luminous, raves variety. From director Sam Gold and playwright Amy Herzog, An Enemy of the People is urgent, electrifying, and haunting, declares USA Today. An Enemy of the People, on Broadway through June 16th only.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Recently, I asked Mint Mobile's legal team if big wireless companies are allowed to raise prices due to inflation. They said yes. And then when I asked if raising prices technically violates those onerous 2-year contracts, they said, "What the f*** are you talking about, you insane Hollywood ass?" So to recap, we're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
If you're looking for plump lips that last, you need to know about Juvederm lip fillers. With Juvederm Volbella XC and Juvederm Ultra XC, your lip look, whether it's subtle or bold, can last up to 1 full year with optimal treatment and no additional maintenance. Find a licensed specialist and see if it's right for you at Juvederm.com today. That's JUVEDERM.com. Add fullness to lips in adults over 21 with Juvederm Volbella XC or Juvederm Ultra XC. Do not use if you have severe allergies or a history of severe allergic reactions, or if you're allergic to lidocaine or the proteins used in Juvederm. Tell your doctor if you have a history of scarring or taking medicines that decrease the body's immune response or that can prolong bleeding. Common side effects include injection site redness, swelling, pain, tenderness, firmness, lumps, bumps, bruising, discoloration, or itching. As with all fillers, there's a rare risk of unintentional injection into a blood vessel, which can cause vision abnormalities, blindness, stroke, temporary scabs, or scarring. For full important safety information, visit Juvederm.com.
Shocking, sad, revealing, and deeply researched. PH Murder Stories podcast covers the true account of infamous killings and true crime stories from the Philippines.
There's no such thing as questions, just hidden answers. Stay tuned as we revisit the inconceivable crimes that exist.
Some listeners may find the following content of PH Murder Stories highly disturbing due to its graphic nature. PH Murder Stories does not condone nor promote violence of all sorts.
Viewer discretion is advised.
she was already complaining and sharing information that the son of her employer had been threatening her, had been harassing her, and had been, even, used an ice pick stuck it close to her neck, so may physical harm that was threatened of her. She was reported missing the next day, Saturday, and in fact a report was made by the employer that she had absconded, that she could not be found, that she was not at her quarters already. But subsequently, Sunday, the next report we get is that Sunday evening, Manila time, her remains were reported found, and that the remains were indeed identified as that of Jullebee Ranara.
Puno ng bigati ang pamilya Ranara sa pagsalubong sa labi ng OFW na si Jullebee Biyernes ng gabi. Ito ilang araw matapos matagpo ang patay ang Pinay sa isang disyerto sa Kuwait.
The body, if I may describe it, was intact. There were signs of it being burned. It was really heartbreaking. The husband and siblings broke down as expected upon seeing the state of Jullebee's body.
Naniniwala ang isang mambabatas na dapat humingi ng paumanhin ang gobyerno ng Kuwait sa Pilipinas kasunod ng pagpatay sa overseas Filipino worker na si Jullebee Ranara. Ito ay matapos kondenahin ng Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kuwait na si Sheikh Salem Abdullah Al-Jaber-Al-Sabah ang pamamaslang kay Ranara. Ayon kay Senator Rafi Tulfo na siyang chairperson ng Senate Committee on Migrant Workers, hindi sapat ang pagkondena sa anyay ilang beses na insidente ng pagpatay sa mga OFW sa Kuwait. Muli ring nanawagan ang senador na magkaroon na muna ng deployment ban sa mga domestic helper na unang beses pa lamang napupunta ng Kuwait.
As you probably heard, 35-year-old Jullebee Ranara, a Filipina who had to move to Kuwait to make ends meet and support her family as a domestic worker, was brutally killed in 2023. She was tortured, raped, and murdered. As if this grueling ordeal was not enough, Jullebee's heartless perpetrator even burnt her body, threw his victim in the desert, and ran her over with a vehicle.
You are listening to the PH Murder Stories podcast, and this is the 6th episode of Season 4.
Based on a report from Vice World News, there are over 268,000 Filipinos currently working in Kuwait, most of which consist of domestic workers. The Kafala system governs migrant workers in Kuwait, and various human rights groups says that the Kafala system is a legal framework utilized in most Gulf states that authorizes employers to have full control over the legal status of migrant workers. Unfortunately, Jullebee Ranara's gruesome murder is not the first incident that happened to a Filipino in Kuwait. This recent incident appears to have caused a ton of frustration in how the Kuwaitis view less of Filipinos. It is unacceptable and should not be tolerated by the international community. The Kafala system has been the primary factor that has exploited various migrant workers in the Middle East, especially Filipino domestic workers, thus resulting in a wide variety of abuses, torture, and infamous killings.
Before her gruesome killing last January 21, 2023, Jullebee Ranara informed her relative that she was afraid of her employer's 17-year-old son. Given that the suspect was still a minor at the time of the crime, we will not mention his name in this episode. After Jullebee last conversed with her relatives, she vanished on social media. It prompted Jullebee's relatives to look for her through Jullebee's friends in Kuwait. On January 21, 2023, authorities found Jullebee Ranara's body in a Kuwaiti desert with her skull smashed and her body burned. Autopsy reports from Kuwaiti authorities revealed that Jullebee Ranara was raped and was also pregnant at the time of her passing.
Jullebee's uncovered pregnancy promptly led the authorities to arrest the 17-year-old son of the victim's employer, as they deemed it as the primary motive for this gruesome crime. Meanwhile, Jullebee's body was brought back to the Philippines and her funeral was attended by prominent Filipino politicians, including President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Well, good afternoon. Just a very quick statement. I just wanted to offer my sympathies to the family of Junel and to assure them that all the assistance that they might need for the family and for whatever else, ang pangako ko sa kanila. Kaya naman nagsakripisyo ang anak nila na magtrabaho sa abroad ay dahil may mga pangarap siya para sa kanyang pamilya. Kaya sinabi ko, nawala na yung anak ninyo, kami na lang ang tutupad ng pangarap ninyo. So, lahat ng assistance na pwede namin ibibigay namin. That was what I assured them. And together with the Congresswoman here and Senator Mark Villar, and Secretary 𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗲𝗏, we have assured the family that we will attend to all their needs. Nabigay na yata yung death benefit na galing sa OWA. Meron kaming hinahanda na scholarship. Maliliit pa yung mga bata. Yung panganay na is 13. So, basta't para makapag-aral ng mabuti. At lahat pa ng ibang benepisyo, yung insurance na ibabayad, ay pina-follow up na namin. So, that's what we are doing for them. And on the other side of it, we are also scheduling bilateral meetings with Kuwait to look at the agreement that we have, to see if there are any weaknesses in the agreement that allowed this to happen, and to make sure that those weaknesses are remedied so that the agreement is stronger and will be more supportive of our workers. And furthermore, that we hope this will never happen again to any one of our countrymen. So, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
The late Department of Migrant Workers Secretary Susan 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 also consoled Jullebee Ranara's family and promised that the government would do everything that it could to bring justice for the victim's brutal murder. On the other hand, the Kuwaiti ambassador to Manila claimed that the Kuwaiti society was shocked and saddened by the gruesome nature of the crime, claiming that Jullebee Ranara's murder was an isolated case. The Kuwaiti ambassador, however, did not inform the media about his thoughts on the inhumane Kafala system that the Kuwaiti employers of domestic workers enjoy, which proves him wrong in his views on Jullebee Ranara's case.
Jullebee Ranara's employer offered blood money, or in other words, offered to pay the victim's family in exchange for not pursuing a case against the 17-year-old killer. Fortunately, Jullebee Ranara's family wants justice, and they emphasized that no amount can ever pay for Jullebee Ranara's life.
Good morning, Mike. The family of slain OFW in Kuwait, Jullebee Ranara, will not settle the case nor will accept blood money from the camp of the family of her alleged murderer. This is according to Senator Rafi Tulfo, head of Senate Committee on Migrant Workers, who made the statement after speaking with Ranara's family last night. The issue of possible settlement has made the rounds over on social media, but the Ranara family is keen on upholding justice for their slain family member.
Magkaisa po ang boses sila lahat, yung father, mother at saka yung mister, na they will not accept blood money. The exact word of the father is dugo sa dugo. Ibig sabihin, hustisya. Buhay kapalit ng buhay. So, kung ang parusa ay bitay, bitay, so be it. At hindi sila magkikipag-areglo.
On September 2023, Jullebee Ranara, 17-year-old killer, was sentenced to 15 years imprisonment and 1 year for driving without a license. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the lesser penalties were due to the accused being a minor. Regardless, the public that has been following this case believes that the Kuwaiti government was very lenient in this matter despite the suspect being a minor.
Jullebee Ranara's gruesome rape, torture, and murder is not an isolated case, no matter how the Kuwaiti ambassador to Manila claims it to be. How many abuses and brutal murders do OFWs have to endure for the international community to condemn the Kuwaiti government and other Gulf states that impose the Kafala system? Yes, we could discuss how minors on the brink of adulthood should be punished for these types of incidents. But the primary issue here is how Kuwaiti people view Filipinos as the lesser class. Almost every year, a Filipino becomes a victim of a tragic and brutal crime at the hands of the Kuwaiti people. Justice in Kuwait is fast, but why is it lenient to criminals when a Filipino becomes a victim? The 17-year-old killer ran over Jullebee Ranara's body, who was also pregnant at the time, in the desert, and he only got a 1-year suspension of his driver's license. This is unacceptable. Thank you for listening to PH Murder Stories.
If you like this episode, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
You can also support our show on Patreon. Any amount you donate would benefit our team to keep doing what we love, which is to provide more true crime episodes for our listeners. Link in the description.
For further updates from our show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at PH Murder Stories. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at PH Murder Stories.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.
Even when we're on a budget, we still deserve nice things. Quince is a place to scoop up stunning high-end goods for 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They have buttery soft cashmere sweaters starting at $50, luxurious Italian leather bags, and so much more. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Get the high-end goods you'll love without the high price tag with Quince. Go to quince.com/style for free shipping and 365-day returns.